Lily Morgan clutched her laptop bag tighter as she navigated through the crowded Chicago airport terminal. Her auburn curls bounced with each hurried step, and her green eyes darted anxiously toward the departure board. Gate for 2B was flashing a final boarding call for Flight 847 to New York City. She had exactly 3 minutes to make it, and the gate was still half a terminal away. She hated flying. Not just the act of being suspended thousands of feet in the air, but everything about it. The crowds, the delays, the recycled air, and especially the turbulence. But her best friend's wedding was this weekend, and there was no way she was missing it. Not after Rebecca had stood by her side through every difficult moment of the past 5 years. Breathless. Lily finally reached the gate just as the attendant was about to close the door. She flashed her boarding pass, received a tight smile in return, and hurried down the jet bridge. Her seat was in business class, a rare splurge she had justified because this trip was special. She deserved a little luxury after the chaos at work lately. Sterling Industries, where she worked as a marketing coordinator, had just been acquired by some corporate giant. Rumors had been flying for weeks about layoffs, restructuring, and worst of all, about the new CEO who would be taking over. Everyone whispered about Brandon Sterling, the ruthless businessman who apparently had ice water in his veins and no sympathy for anyone who could not keep up with his impossible standards. Lily found her seat, 3A, and began shoving her bag into the overhead compartment. As she struggled with the stubborn luggage, a deep voice beside her offered help. "Let me get that for you." She turned to find herself staring into the most striking pair of blue eyes she had ever seen. The man was tall, probably 6'2", with dark hair styled in that perfect casual way that suggested both effort and nonchalance. His charcoal suit fit him like it had been tailored specifically for his broad shoulders. And when he smiled, a small dimple appeared in his left cheek. "Thank you," Lily managed, stepping back to let him lift her bag effortlessly into the compartment. "I appreciate it. It's no problem at all," he replied, settling into seat 3B beside her. "I'm Brandon." "Lily," she responded, buckling herself in and already feeling the familiar anxiety building in her chest. She always got nervous before takeoff as the plane began to taxi. Brandon pulled out a book while Lily tried to distract herself by checking her phone. One last time before switching it to airplane mode, she noticed a text from her colleague, Jamie. "Good luck this weekend. And good luck surviving next week with the new tyrant boss. Heard he fired 3 managers at his last company on his first day." Lily's stomach twisted. She had worked so hard on the new marketing campaign for the luxury hotel chain that was Sterling Industries' biggest client. What if this new CEO decided to scrap everything and start over? What if he decided her entire department was expendable? The plane lifted off, and Lily gripped the armrest so tightly her knuckles turned white. Beside her, Brandon glanced over with concern. "Nervous flyer?" he asked gently. "Is it that obvious?" Lily tried to laugh, but it came out strained. "Only a little," he said, with a reassuring smile. "We'll be at cruising altitude soon." The takeoff is always the worst part. For the next 20 minutes, Brandon kept up a steady stream of calm conversation, asking about her trip, sharing a funny story about his own travel mishaps, and generally distracting her from her fear. Lily found herself relaxing despite herself. There was something soothing about his presence, something genuine in the way he listened when she talked. Then the turbulence hit. It started as a few bumps. It's nothing unusual. But within minutes, the plane was shaking violently, dipping and rising in a way that made Lily's heart leap into her throat. The seatbelt sign dinged urgently, and even the flight attendants looked concerned as they rushed to secure the cabin. "Oh God, we're going to crash," Lily whispered, her breathing becoming rapid and shallow. Without thinking, she grabbed Brandon's arm, her nails digging into the expensive fabric of his suit jacket. "Hey, look at me," Brandon said firmly but kindly, turning in his seat to face her. "We're not going to crash. This is just rough air. The pilots handle this all the time." But another violent jolt sent a carry-on bag tumbling from an overhead compartment somewhere behind them, and Lily felt panic overtaking her rational mind. When she was scared, she talked. She talked fast and without filter, and right now, with adrenaline flooding her system, every anxious thought came pouring out. "I can't die now," she babbled. still gripping Brandon's arm like a lifeline. I haven't done anything significant with my life. I work at this job where I pour my heart into campaigns. And next week, some horrible new CEO is taking over who is probably going to fire everyone and ruin everything we have built. Everyone says he is a monster, completely heartless. Just buys companies and tears them apart without caring about the people whose lives he destroys. Brandon's eyebrows rose slightly, but he did not interrupt. Lily barely noticed. Brandon Sterling, she continued, her voice rising slightly as another bump made her stomach drop. That is his name. Sterling. How pretentious is that? I bet he is one of those rich guys who has never worked a real day in his life, who just inherited everything and thinks money makes him better than everyone else. My friend Jamie said he looks like an uptight corporate robot in his photos. Probably old and bald and mean with a permanent scowl. The kind of person who would fire a single mother right before Christmas just to save a few dollars on the quarterly report. She was aware she was rambling. Aware that she was probably making no sense, but she could not stop. The words kept flowing as the plane continued to shake. I worked so hard on the Grandview Hotel's campaign, she went on, tears now forming in her eyes from a combination of fear and frustration. 6 months of research, focus groups, creative briefs, and this Sterling guy probably will not even look at it before deciding to bring in his own people. People like that do not care about creativity or passion or the fact that real human beings are affected by their decisions. They just see numbers on a spreadsheet. Brandon's hand covered hers on the armrest, warm and steady. Tell me about your campaign, he said quietly. Distract yourself. What makes it special? The genuine interest in his voice, combined with the comforting pressure of his hand, helped slow her racing heart. Lily took a shaky breath and began describing her work, the innovative social media strategy, the partnerships with travel influencers, focus on authentic experiences rather than just luxury amenities. As she talked, the turbulence gradually subsided, though she barely noticed. It sounds brilliant, Brandon said when she finished. Whoever this new CEO is, he would be a fool not to recognize the value in that kind of innovative thinking. You are kind to say so, Lily replied, finally releasing her death grip on his arm and noticing with embarrassment the wrinkles she had created in his jacket. I am so sorry about that. And about the rant. I do not usually unload on strangers like that. Fear makes me chatty. Do not apologize, Brandon assured her. I found it quite enlightening, actually. Something in his tone made Lily look at him more carefully, but his expression was unreadable. The rest of the flight passed smoothly, and they talked about lighter topics. Her friend's wedding, his business in New York, their favorite restaurants in the city. By the time they landed, Lily felt like she had known Brandon for years rather than hours, as they collected their belongings and prepared to deplane. Lily felt a strange reluctance to say goodbye. This handsome stranger had seen her at her most vulnerable and most unfiltered. Yet she felt more comfortable with him than she did with people she had known for years. Thank you, she said as they walked up the jet bridge together, for calming me down up there. You've probably saved me from a full panic attack. It was my pleasure, Brandon replied. And the warmth in his eyes made her heart skip for entirely different reasons than fear. I hope your friend's wedding is wonderful. They paused at the gate, and Lily felt the moment stretching between them. She wanted to ask for his number, wanted to suggest coffee sometime, but something held her back. Maybe it was the lingering embarrassment about her rant. Maybe it was the improbability of a man like him being interested in a woman like her. Well, goodbye then, she finally said. Goodbye. Lily Morgan, he replied with that devastating smile. She walked away, glancing back once to see him watching her. Then she lost him in the crowd, and he was gone. The weekend flew by in a blur of wedding festivities. Rebecca looked stunning. The ceremony was perfect. And Lily successfully avoided thinking about work until Sunday night, when anxiety crept back in. Monday morning would bring the new regime at Sterling Industries. And despite Brandon's reassurances on the plane, she could not shake the dread pooling in her stomach. Monday arrived too quickly. Lily dressed carefully in her best navy suit, armor for whatever this day would bring. The office buzzed with nervous energy as employees clustered in small groups, whispering speculations about what changes the new CEO would implement. At 9 o'clock sharp, everyone was summoned to the main conference room for an all-hands meeting. Lily filed in with her colleagues, her heart pounding as she took a seat near the middle of the room. The vice president of operations stood at the front, clearing his throat importantly. "Good morning, everyone. As you know, Sterling Industries has entered an exciting new chapter. I would like to introduce you to our new Chief Executive Officer, who will be leading us into the future. Please welcome Brandon Sterling." The door opened, and Lily's world tilted on its axis. Walking into the conference room, commanding every bit of attention in the space, was Brandon.